minus 10 minutes. Minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
And we're off, and I know it's going to be a fantastic show today because I know Scruffy's going to get him riled up. And we got a very special guest today who is making his RP show debut. When I got into baseball 3 years ago in a significant way, I loved the people, and this is just one of the guys that I really love a lot. Geoff Freeborn is joining us, pitching coach, host of Sidearm Nation, former scout for the Reds, pitching coach of our Miller Express. It's Home Run Derby tonight, all-star time in Major League Baseball. We got CFL to get to, the Craven Country Jamboree. I got some stories coming out of the biggest party of the summer. And Scruffy is here. Are you ready, Scruffy? I got all my noise makers. Are you ready to have some fun?
This weekend, my friend?
What do you see? What does it look? You tell me. What's it look like?
Looks like you could maybe, well, nothing's going to fix that mug of yours, so.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it was a hot one. Everybody talking about it. They get surprised when it's really cold in the winter. They get surprised when it's really hot in the summer. I don't know what it is. Anyways, we're rolling with episode number 1775 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. This is the warm-up for our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel. The big story, Mitch, as far as I'm concerned, we got the World Cup, we got Wimbledon, we got golf. Look, it's the Canadian Football League for us. We're big fans. The Saskatchewan Roughriders exploded for 27 unanswered points in the second half, went on to motorboat the Hamilton Tiger Cats 38-7 Sunday to close out Week 6 in the CFL. So everybody just slow down. We got fans of every team here. I'd like to get to some NFL stuff too. You said the game wasn't going to be close, and it wasn't close.
No.
31 point. Did you enjoy the game at least?
You know what, Roddy? I'm going to be honest with you. I was at Curry Field yesterday doing the PA for the Red Sox game. So, of course, like many of you that were out at Craven or that went to the football game, although it seems that a lot of people didn't go, but that's another story. They wanted to go see Laney Wilson instead, which I understand. The game went into extra innings, so I decided that I was going to tape the football game. When I got home, I believe the second quarter was just getting underway. And then I got home and was like, oh crap, it didn't tape. So I just went, because I'm with Access, hit restart, which is something that some people don't know how to do apparently after watching the Calgary-Montreal game this weekend. Hi, Ryan Ballant.
I was one of them. I was one of them. I was one of those people.
I know.
Continue.
I know you were. Whatever. It's tough when life doesn't go your way. But I, honest to God, Roddy,
I'm used to it.
I watched the first half. It was, 4-4? And I'm going like, what's going on here? But then they had that drive where Sam Emila scored the touchdown. And after that, it was all Riders. And, yeah, I'm sure the heat had something to do with it for Hamilton sitting on the sunny side. But did we really think that the Hamilton Tiger Cats were going to put up a solid effort against the Saskatchewan Roughriders without Bo Levi Mitchell? No. Like, I fast-forwarded my way through most of the second half.
Okay, fair. Well, listen, I had a friend. Let's not take an off-ramp to negative town just yet, okay? It's the first segment of the first show of the week. I had a buddy watching on CBS Sports Network in Wellington, Florida, saying exactly what you're saying. You're not alone. He sent me a screenshot. 4-4. He's like, I'm like, listen, the NFL has dogs too. Come on, guys. It was a mismatch right out of the start. But here's what's different about this show's different in a lot of ways from other shows. Here was mine with our wonderful partnership with Country Thunder. I went out there first thing in the morning. I was watching the Bucking Bulls. I was having a great time with my friends who I hadn't seen for a long time. And then I went out to Regina Beach, had a nap, watched the football game. What? Yeah, what? There was air conditioning. I saw everybody complaining about the heat at home. It was ungodly hot. This is the temperature that we felt yesterday is like Florida in late April, early May. It's way worse now. But I didn't. It was uncomfortably hot. And then I went back out to watch Laney Wilson. And I will say this, for the people that are up my ass, that are upset that Country Thunder, the big country music festival that drew 40,000 fans, Mitch, You couldn't have packed. Do you see my videos? You couldn't have packed another soul in that grandstand with a freaking shoehorn. So don't come at me with the economy. The economy didn't hurt Craven. Now, I know it's
I hear you.
To go to both. Not many people would go to the Ryder game and Laney Wilson. Not a lot of people would do that. So they had to make a choice.
I have a good one for you.
Sure.
I had somebody come up to me on Saturday wondering why Country Thunder would always schedule their event knowing that the Riders are playing. Thank you. I looked at this woman who told me this, and I said, you're joking, right? And she started to get annoyed. And she said, no, I'm not. Why should they have to deal with Country Thunder all the time? I informed her that Country Thunder's dates for 2027 are already known. Does she know when the CFL schedule comes out? No. Well, here's an idea.
Well,
the 2027 event for Country Thunder is already out. The CFL schedule isn't. So maybe if you're that upset about this, you should be contacting the football team and saying, don't play on that weekend. And 2 of the 5 last Country Thunders, the Riders have been on the road. 3 they've played at home. One of them
I don't care. Let's talk about the damn game.
Well,
Let's talk about the damn. I don't care about that stuff. My God. Bitch. Listen.
What are we thinking here?
It happens that listen. It's like that revolves around the Dolphins in South Florida. Things revolve around the Leafs in Toronto. They revolve around the Riders here. It's like I just walk away from those people, Mitch. God bless you for engaging. Because I just walk away. I can't anymore. Okay. 902-518-3033 is the text line. It's brought to you by Western Dodge. Because you know what? There were other games. We talked on Friday about Edmonton motorboating Ottawa 40-17. You got to help me with what happened Friday night in Toronto because I didn't watch the game. The Blue Bombers beat the Argonauts 30-21. Chad Kelly's complaining about, does he have a point about them?
Yeah, he does.
All these games on the. Yeah, I kind of think
he does. I absolutely think. But
speaking of complaining, the World Cup forced him out, and now I see the Argos are advertising their home opener. It's like it's week 7, and they're finally going to have a home opener, which, by the way, isn't until week 8. So there's that. Montreal made Calgary look very average on Saturday. I don't know if you were able to watch that game, 37-20. I watched
a little bit of it, yeah.
Yeah, and then as I say, Sask blowing out Hamilton 38-7. So we're starting to see some trends here. By the way, MLB Home Run Derby tonight. I want to talk Oilers with you because they're in the news. Conor McGregor will be right back on the RP Show.
Across America, Country Thunder music festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Laney Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Scruffy's here. It's the Quick Six, brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group, the preferred travel partner of the RP Show and the BC Lions. When it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Jark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. They have all kinds of really cool things going on there. Before we delve back into the CFL, because it's summertime and it's what Mitch and I care about the most, I think I would be not out of line in saying that, Mitch. The poll question today is Country Thunder, which, by the way, they have festivals all across America. So we're still promoting them. There you go. Thank you, producer Corey. The next one's coming up in Wisconsin. Poll question is, will you be watching the Home Run Derby tonight? I watch it every year, even before I was working in baseball. I love it. I've always loved it. Will you be watching tonight?
No.
Why?
The Home Run Derby, to me, is stale. It's like...
But they've changed it.
Yeah, but they haven't, though. It's like the 8 top home run hitters. How far can you hit a baseball and how many can you hit? It's like... Roddy, it's like the shootout competition at the NHL All-Star Game. It's like it's fun for a couple of years, and then after that, no...
That's fair.
I'll see the highlight of the biggest home run of the night.
Sure.
I think that obviously Major League Baseball wants Kyle Schwarber or Bryce Harper to win it, but do something to make it. Here's what they need to do.
Okay.
They need to put 2 big targets or 3 big targets in left, center, and right field. And if a ball hits a target, a fan wins a whole crap load of money.
I'll take your suggestion to. I'll take it to Rob Manfred next time I see him. But I'll be watching.
By the
way,
the WCBL All-Star Game is going to have a bunting contest. I would much rather see that than a home run hitting contest.
The other thing I wanted to ask you was this. With the Edmonton Oilers, they've signed Colton Dach to a deal. I haven't really talked to you, I don't think, since they got Freddie Anderson in goal. Maybe we have, but
yeah, we have.
They're going to be. We have? Okay. Well, they're going to be good. They're going to be decent, but can you see them winning a Stanley Cup with Mike Bagpot? Fact of the matter is, they should have had Bruce Cassidy, and I think they would have won a Stanley Cup eventually with Bruce Cassidy. I think it's a 2-year window. You and I have talked about that. If they don't win, McDavid's gone. So in 2 years, do you think they win a Stanley Cup with Bagpot? I could see it. I'm not saying they will, but if they did, I wouldn't be surprised.
Roddy, with the roster they have, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think they need a couple of ingredients yet to do that. They've improved the goaltending. And somebody said this weekend that Freddie Anderson might be the best goaltender that Connor McDavid has ever played with. I can't really disagree with that. I'm not sold on their defense yet. And when I look at teams like Vegas, Colorado, Anaheim, Dallas, Minnesota, I look at their top 9 and I look at Edmonton's top 9. I just don't see it happening right now.
Okay.
But, as I said a couple of weeks
we got
ago,
it.
Okay.
Let's move on. Let's move on. If you don't like what we're talking about, we'll be talking about something else in 2 minutes. I want to bring in some comments from the viewers here. Like, there's just so much going on. John Ohm says, I like the home run derby. Scott in Vancouver says, I like all-star games. Kind of fun for kids and fair weather fans. Jason in Red Deer says, that's a great idea, Scruffy. Have a bunch of targets for prizes. Kevin the Medium checks in, says, good morning, RP peeps. So we like to keep it moving, Mitch. You know that. And then like with the UFC, I was in bed by 9:30 on Saturday night. So when McGregor, whatever, I didn't even see the highlight of it. There's just a million things going on. To try and stay on top of them all is exhausting. So back for those that just logged on, point 1 of the quick 6. Riders walloping the Ticats 38-7. Point 2, more of the week 6 of the CFL. I'm going to come back on that right away. Point 3, MLB. Point 4, NHL in the orders. And I guess point 5 is McGregor. So we're actually through all of those. So back to Chad Kelly complaining about the Argos schedule. I just saw the headline this morning. I think it was at 3 down that he is complaining about that. And to be honest, I have time for the argument other than to say, what are you going to do about it? It happened, so move on. They got to play in Hamilton this week. Well, you said you agree with Chad Kelly. So give me
I guess I look at it. And I go, the 2 teams that were affected by the World Cup were the Lions and the Argos. The Lions, with a good owner in Amar Doman, did some good things while the Lions were displaced from home. He didn't keep them far from home. He took them to Kelowna. Then you take a look at the Argos, who are run by MLSE, who they don't want to admit that they have the Argos. Look at their center block at their building. They've got TFC, the Raptors. They don't have the Argo logo on their door. So they decided they were going to have Toronto go and play home games in the 2 most lucrative markets to get revenue. They go to Winnipeg and Regina. Now, I think they could have played the game in Saskatoon, but obviously the revenue said no, because they get more at Mosaic, which is understandable. But yeah, this is just another example of MLSE not really taking care of one of its properties. You could have played in Guelph. You could have played in Laval. You could have played anywhere in Southern Ontario, McMaster, Guelph, but you didn't.
Well, I'm gonna pause for a sec from the audience on that, and remind me about the MLSE, because you're on to something that I want to talk about. But David number 2 in Winnipeg writes in. He says, "Happy Monday, Rod. It looks like your bean got baked. The Riders Ticats game offered a great time for a nap, and Hamilton took advantage of it." Kirk in Toronto writes in. He says, "As I said last week, Drew Brown shines against the Argonauts, and Chad Kelly should stop making excuses like he did after the 2023 East Final and again against Winnipeg." Oh, he's saying because of the schedule they lost? Is that the schedule that he's referring? Here's the thing that I think, Mitch, that nobody asked. I mean, you didn't either, but I think Rogers owning all the sports teams in Toronto is the death knell of sports in Canada. Look at what's happened in Calgary with CSEC owning the Flames, the Stampeders, the Wranglers, the Hitmen, every team except for the Surge basketball team. There's no marketing going into those other teams at all. You don't even know that they're going on. And you get this. You get what's happening in Calgary, and now you're getting what's happening in Toronto. As you said, can you imagine working for the Argos? Those guys are so used. They're like an abused wife. They've just been getting treated crappy for so long. They're just used to it. You know what I mean? Like, it's so bad. And yet I don't think anybody in Toronto in the 6 can see it coming. It's horrible. And I don't really care. I cancel my Rogers cell phone. I don't care if they're mad at me. I said in my column today that at rodpedersen.com. It was cowardly of Rogers to shut down those radio stations and not inform the Flames and the Canucks that it was coming, or the staff. It just, to me, it was cowardly. So I see why Canadians are pissed off. But as from a sports angle, it's terrible that one conglomerate owns all the teams in one town.
I don't disagree. Because then you're picking and choosing your favorites. And, you take a look at Calgary Sports and Entertainment. Well, they've got a hockey team where 19,000 people are showing up at the Saddle Dome. And, oh, wait a minute. Now they've got a big fancy new arena now because they had to have one because Edmonton had one, and Calgary can't have what Edmonton has. Or Calgary has to have what Edmonton has. So you know that CSEC is going to put all their marbles into the Flames. And as a result, who pays for that? The Stampeders, who are getting zero media attention in Calgary. They get, very little press. People aren't interested. They say they're playing in the worst stadium in the CFL. I'm not going to argue that. But you go back 20 years when you had dedicated media coverage, the stadium was still the same and there was different owners and it was different. And you're right with Toronto. Right now the Blue Jays are the cash cow for them. If the Raptors start to win, they'll put a little bit more emphasis into them. I don't think they care about Toronto FC, but we'll find out. But yeah, it's just not a good situation.
No. Jeff, the Stamps fan, checks in. He says, sure, but they are at least financially stable thanks to that ownership. I guess. I mean, you go anywhere else, if anybody travels at all, like in South Florida. Like, my point is, when I was in Calgary, and I spent a lot of time there after I left the Ryder job, it was rare to see any Stampeder gear in that city of 1 point whatever it is, 1.3 million. Rare.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
And in South Florida, you see Heat, you see Panthers, you see Dolphins, you see it all, because those teams all
not only
their
that
bags off. What?
Not only that, Rod, but when you go to a store in Canada, you can't find a lot of other gear unless it's like the big teams. There are
Agreed.
places in the U.S., and I'm sure you have them in Miami, where I can walk into a college store in Miami and come out with like a Michigan t-shirt or a Montana t-shirt. There's a store at the Mall of Americas in Minneapolis. They're not selling just Gophers and Vikings and wild stuff. It's everything. Who needs Fanatics when you've got a store right there? And we
Fair,
just don't see
but
that here.
That is a discussion for another day, because that's supply and demand thing. Yeah. With so many people ordering online now, it's hard to stock your shelves. Trust me, as a guy that's owned multiple businesses, some successfully, a lot not. Vintage Sasko writes in and says, if Chad Kelly doesn't like the heavy road schedule, he can go yell at some more team employees and get another 9 games off. I just read it. That does not reflect the opinions of the host. That came from Vintage Sasko, formerly Fake Gainer. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in and says, Percival Molson is the worst. Talk about whataboutism. What about them? When we sucked with the Regina Pats, Mitch, you'll get this. We used to sit around, talk about how much we sucked. Guess what our owner said? Well, at least we're not the Blades. I'm like, oh, thanks. The only team worse than us for the last 30 years. Well, at least we're not the Blades. And by the way, it is a bit of it. Listen, it's a brand thing. Percival Molson is cool. Did you watch, again, back to that Montreal-Calgary game? That place was full. That looked fun in Molson for the Calgary, for Percival Molson. So, and Jeff, have you been there, Jeff? It ain't any worse. He's not wrong. It's not any worse than McMahon, nor better. Yet in Montreal, it's cool to go to a game at McGill. They packed that joint. It ain't cool to go to a
Is
Calgary
Hamilton
game.
a good stadium?
It's amazing.
I've
it's
heard
really
terrible things about Ivor Wynne Stadium, or whatever it's called now.
It's boring. It's like they just threw up a couple sides of grandstands. There's no character to it. I mean, I've seen high school stadiums in the States that have more character than that. But it's nice and it's new and it's functional, Mitch. It's like it's like they just picked, we like this design, like those modular homes. You know what I mean? Let's just throw this up. It feels like no thought went into it at all. But I'll say it again. In Calgary, this is what people tell me, what I hear. I have a lot of friends in Calgary. They don't go to Calgary because the narrative is that the stadium sucks so bad we won't go. Guys, the grandstand's not going to fall down on you. You and I have both been to multiple games in that place. It's got a bad rap.
Yep.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Yep. And
People
Roddy,
are still
I'm guessing if the Calgary
Fenway.
Stampeders were 5-0, people would be going.
No, that's the one market where I don't think winning
More
matters.
than what's
That's
going
the
now.
One thing. That's the one thing I can't figure out about that town. Okay, we're in a fun one with Scruffy. We'll be right back. 902-518-3033 is the text line for Western Dodge or the YouTube chat. It's lively. We'll be right back on the RP Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Dean Brody and the Wreck Loss, teaming up for the Hometown Heroes Tour.
If there's work, you know I'm gonna work.
Live at Temple Garden Center, November 9th.
Can't blame nobody else, I can't help myself.
Two of Canada's biggest country acts, one stage, one unforgettable night on the Hometown Heroes Tour. Tickets on sale now at the Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
One more segment with Scruffy. It's so much fun. By the way, are you craving the famous Greek ribs everybody is talking about? Get yours today at the Mad Greek Eatery. Dine in, pick up, or order online, downtown Moose Jaw. It's a tourist mecca. It's popping. It's summertime. I'll say this, Mitch. The trolley was going down Main Street, Moose Jaw, the other day. It was Tuesday afternoon. I looked at this thing as it passed me on Main Street. I'm like, how many people can be on this trolley in the middle of the afternoon on a Tuesday? Oh, jammed. It looked like a bunch of Q-tips, of course. You know, it's bobbing back and forth, but it's a tourism mecca. Check out the Mad Greek. You said you're coming, but you haven't yet. Well, exactly. Okay.
I will be. I'll be there.
Yeah. We covered, for those that joined us late, we talked about the Riders walloping the Ticats 38-7. Week 6 CFL, Chad Kelly complaining about being on the road all the time with the Argos, and not saying he's wrong. Point 3, MLB pauses for the All-Star break. The home run derbies tonight. I'll be watching. Mitch won't, but that's the poll question for Country Thunder. NHL, I asked Mitch if he thinks the Oilers will win a cup under Babcock. He says no. Point 5, Conor McGregor. I didn't even watch it, so there's really not much to say. I do have it mentioned in our sports update coming up. What else is on your mind, by the way, because you are the guest.
Obviously, Roddy, the big story this weekend, besides the Rider game, congratulations to Cardiff's Carter Beck.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up.
Who saw that coming? Like,
first round?
Everybody I talked to said that Carter Beck was going to probably go mid-third round to early fourth. I'm in my driveway Saturday afternoon. I'd just been out, and all of a sudden I'm getting notifications on my phone, and I see from Sportsnet, Cardiff's Carter Beck taken with the 26th overall pick by Atlanta Braves. First round. That's unreal.
He's first round.
And as I said at the
He's a
ball
first
game
round
yesterday,
talent. Yeah.
As I said, yeah, he is. But there's a lot of talented players south of the border. Let's not kid ourselves. But he's one of the top 32 this year. I thought Carter Beck could make an appearance in the major leagues within the next 2-3 years. When you're a first-round pick, Carter Beck might see some at-bats this year in September when the rosters get called up. Or they get expanded. He might get called up.
Well, what's beautiful about what you and I do is having the ability to have called Connor Bedard's games in junior or Carter Beck's games in the WCBL. So you've seen him coming up. And we were telling everybody, watch out for this guy in the case of Bedard. And now Carter Beck. Same. I'm glad you said that. He's told me he wants to play for Canada in the Olympics. He's going to be playing in the majors before the Olympics. Of course he's going to be playing for Canada in the Olympics. That's exciting stuff. Oh my God.
He will be. World Baseball Classic, Olympics. If you don't know who this kid is, and we've been fortunate enough in Saskatchewan to see him, Canada's got another great outfielder. You know, we've got Owen Casey already, who plays for the Marlins, and you're obviously familiar with him. Carter Beck's going to be a player for the Atlanta Braves. So
yeah, it's very exciting. Well, you said, you know, what the projections were. You know the story. Sorry, what?
Yep. And it's good for the WCBL as well, because what a weekend for them. Tristan Peters, former member of the Okotoks Dogs, gets named to the All-Star team just days after hitting for the cycle. And I forget the kid's first name, last name Flewelling, named the MVP of the Prospects game in Philadelphia yesterday, played for the Sylvan Lake Gulls. So if you're looking to improve your baseball career, and we know a lot of kids that do it, Roddy, and God love them, why wouldn't you come up to Western Canada and spend your summers playing baseball? Because it's great.
That's part of the reason that I wanted to get Geoff Freeborn on an hour, too. He's our pitching coach with the Millers, scouts with the Reds. He's pitched professionally in 6 different countries. He's got a hell of a story. And you're right. This is a wonderful league. The games are great. The ballparks are becoming packed because the weather's turning here. But just to finish the story, Carter Beck's grandpa, Gus, I've known literally my whole life. he thought that his grandson Carter could go as high as the second round. That's from his grandpa.
Yeah.
So for him to go in the first round just blew everybody's socks off. So, yeah, and the other thing is, frankly, man, I don't know if it's a baseball thing because I'm new to it, but all the teams were congratulating Carter. His former competitors, guys on other teams, our players were sharing it on their social media. It almost made me cry. I didn't think life was like that anymore, but these baseball kids are such great people. And not just on our team, but on all the teams. You've noticed that, huh?
I don't disagree with you. And to see the Regina Red Sox and other teams in the league congratulate the Berries and Carter Beck, that's a great thing. You know, you didn't see the Saskatoon Blades, and I'm just using them as an example of the Moose Jaw Warriors or whatever. You didn't see them congratulating Connor Bedard for being the number one pick of the Pats.
It doesn't happen.
You don't see other Western Hockey League teams going, hey, Gavin McKenna, congratulations to the Medicine Hat Tigers. Although we've beaten that horse, though. But in baseball, yeah, you've got other players and everything saying congratulations because this kid is going to live the dream that they wanted to.
You don't see it in... Yeah, hang on.
Kids around the league know what he's all about.
Yeah, good. Scott in Vancouver, because we have just a couple minutes. He says, well, Hamilton overhauled their offense to suit Trey Ford's capabilities. I just wanted to get some audience questions in because I gave you the... It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter.
No.
It is interesting that they would... Mitch, it's interesting the drop-off would be that significant. What does that tell you? It tells you how good Bo is.
Well, it does, but I think it tells you another thing too, Roddy. You need two good quarterbacks in this league to be good. You know, Zach Collaros goes down, Drew Brown comes in. Yes, Drew Brown has familiarity with the Bomber offense, but they win. Like, let's just say this. That football game yesterday is 4-4, okay? What happens if Trevor Harris gets hurt and Jack Cohn comes in? My God,
or Tommy
ended up
Stevens.
11-9.
Or Tommy Stevens. I think Tommy Stevens can play better than the other guy.
That's Nebraska. Tommy Frazier. Nebraska offense.
I got you. But can you tell me, did you watch the Argos-Bombers game? Because I did not. What happened in that game?
I was going back and forth watching it. There were a couple other things I was watching. I was watching the Cubs game. I think there was a soccer game on at that time too. So I was going back and forth. And every time I saw it, it was like, you know, the teams were moving the ball, but Drew Brown just seemed to be like as if he'd been there all his life. And again, that familiarity and, you know, the playbook hasn't changed much, but he looked really comfortable. And I know they were joking on the broadcast yesterday, Dustin Nielsen and Glenn Suter, they were joking on the broadcast yesterday about, you know, the fact that the Bombers are in Ottawa this week. And Mike O'Shea might just go, yeah, Zach, you know what? You just need another week off. Just take it easy. You need another week off. He's ready to go, but you don't think Drew Brown's going to have a burr under his saddle to go back into Ottawa?
Right. Oh, boy. I'm glad I brought that up with you. I wanted to get this in before you break because we'll get to all the comments after you're done. But, you know, watching the game yesterday, those Hamilton receivers weren't helping the cause. Like on the 107-yard pick six, twice on that drive, Hamilton receivers just gave the ball up, just threw it away in terms of turnover. And upon review, they got the ball back. But it's like, guys, you're not helping your quarterback here.
No, and I saw someone on TSN yesterday, and I caught the very end of it. I think it might have been Kenny Lawler. And he was saying, look, we played like crap. The receivers were terrible. So don't blame this on Dolagala.
Yeah, they were really bad, but it just...
Yeah, they were yesterday. Still. I don't recall Kenny Lawler ever fumbling before. But he did yesterday. No. Marcus Sales took it back to what, the 2?
Yeah, and that Mitchell, he was the other guy that fumbled on that drive. I'm like, oh my God. So I say, why do you? Yeah, it happens.
The Dolagala throated woods. Like you're throwing that like 5 guys, and you're trying to pin the needle to the receiver with 5 guys there. You might want to throw that somewhere else, son.
Yeah, there is an experience factor there, I believe. But I say it all. It's similar to, I always said this with the Panthers. When Sergei Bobrovsky doesn't play, all the Panthers' brains fall out. And they don't help the backup. They play great for Bob, but they don't play great for the backup. I don't know why teams are like that. Not every team's like that. But Hamilton's a different team without Bo, basically, is what I'm saying. And I don't think any of us like what we see. Scruffy, it's been great. See you tomorrow. We'll be right back on the RP Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Back at it on a Monday, coming out of a busy week. And now some time to get to viewer messages. Thank you so much for tuning in and writing us on the Western Dodge text line 902-518-3033. Drive with confidence. Shop Western Dodge. Financing, selection, and service you can count on. Kirk in Toronto writes in. He says, Rod, you are absolutely right about Hamilton, that it has no character. Old Ivor Wynn had plenty, and that's coming from an Argo fan. Labor Day games at the Old Barn were insane. I don't want to trounce that Hamilton Stadium. It's nice, new. It has has everything you want. It just no character. I guess They haven't won a Grey Cup, and God, they're not getting it this year, obviously. It's missing that. But it's still a nice place to go, is I guess what I'm trying to get to. David, number 2 in Winnipeg. With these conglomerate owners and their CFL teams, it's like owning a bunch of vehicles. The one they only take out 20 times a year gets the least attention. Revenue streams dictate where they spend their money. I'm aware of all of that. And I'm just saying it's really bad for sports in Canada. Monty in Saskatoon says, Rod, are you going to Saskatoon next weekend for the All-Star game? That is a negatory there, Monty. I apologize, but Saturday night is the CKRM Icon Hall of Fame induction, of which I'm going into. Wouldn't miss that for the world. Saturday night, July 18th, and it is sold out. So have fun in Saskatoon. John Ohm says, is baseball the most opponent-friendly in pro sports? Well, 2 things on that. It probably is, but here's another one. I was sitting around a table with a bunch of longtime friends yesterday, right after watching the Rough Rider game on television. I'm not going to say where or who the people were, but I said, are any of you into the World Cup? And they were like, no. And I actually meant to say this to Mitch, and we can do it tomorrow, I guess, or I could say it to you. We are Western Canadian based. That's where our sponsors are. That's where our viewership is for the most part. And World Cup, at least in the prairies, ain't that big a deal. And I brought up about the Norway-Belgium game where the video's circulating of the player grabbing the other guy's ass. I just don't go in for that. I'm just going to say that, okay? So we were talking about that around the supper table last night, and a 90-year-old lady named Dorothy, I said, I don't know, maybe that's a European thing with the soccer. I don't know, they're grabbing the other guy's ass on the field. She goes, they can keep that in Europe then. I'm like, can't argue. So I guess like that would be opponent friendly is my point, John. It's just I don't think that's ever going to be a thing over here. God, I hope not. But then the other thing that I'm seeing, like I'm seeing all the messages even today still from some of the media that still has jobs in the Calgary and Vancouver markets, wishing well those that don't. Like it's a big earth-shattering thing for sure. But I'm sitting here. I talked to a guy the other night, still works for the Rough Riders, and we talked. This was at Country Thunder, and he goes, "Man, it just looks like you're having so much fun." And I'm like, "I am having so much fun. I'm doing whatever I want, but it's very rare. I'm working in all of these sports, and then branching off into the entertainment this weekend. Trust me, I'm not. I don't think going to be going to all these country music festivals, although I might. But the artists were all sharing my stuff. That doesn't happen in sports at all." It's got hundreds of thousands of views, my content from this weekend at Country Thunder. Now, again, it's a rarity. I don't do it every weekend. I get that. But Logan Layman, Robin Ottolini, Lainey Wilson, go look. Thanks for sharing my stuff. That does not happen in sports. That's not a sports thing at all in any of the sports. So to see these young baseball players congratulating Carter Beck and sharing all that stuff, it really warmed my heart because it's just not a thing anymore. That's all that I'm saying about that. And I'll get maybe a little more into it next hour on I'm not going to be doing concert reviews, but I'll say this Lainey Wilson, wow, what a show. Ken in Mississauga writes in and he says, Glenn called it the old Christmas tree game. I wonder how many viewers knew the reference. You lost. Oh, okay. You guys are talking about the game in Vegas. Where singer Casey Parks. We all know the story. 1994, Saskatchewan Roughriders at Las Vegas Posse. The singer Casey Parks butchered the Canadian national anthem. Did you see that they interviewed him recently? And he still refuses to admit that he screwed up the anthem. He's like, I must have done something right because you guys are still talking about it. I must have done something right because I brought all this notoriety to the CFL. Bro, admit you screwed up. Why is that so hard? Oh, my God. What are we talking about here? Ken, you talking about the Hamilton Stadium? He says, wide aisles, cup holders, all seats have a good view, easy to walk around the entire stadium, lots of TVs on the concourse. I really like Hamilton Stadium. I didn't say I didn't like Hamilton Stadium. I like doing games out of that stadium. I do. But you can't tell me that it's got character because it doesn't. It's the difference between a house and a home. You can move into a brand new house, but it's not a home. And that's what I see for the Hamilton Stadium. That's just my opinion, and that's why you're watching. It's just, we're just letting it rock here today on Sports Talk. 902-518-3033, which is kind of what we do here every day. But back on point, if there is a point. I got to get the kids to turn the music down. I'm sorry. I became that guy. Point 1 was the Rough Riders motorboating the Tiger Cats 38-7. Point 2 is the rest of Week 6 in the CFL. And I do think that Chad Kelly has a point about them being forced out of their stadium. But you know what? What are you going to do? Even the Argo fan Kirk wrote in and said, stop whining about it, Chad. And he's a fan. By the way, since we're in the Canadian hour, score a touchdown in the Caribbean. Join CFL legends Adam Bighill, Jameer Thurman. Who else? Willie Jefferson, Jake Serezna on a 7-day cruise departing from Fort Lauderdale February 20th. A once-in-a-lifetime experience for CFL fans. You might not be thinking about a cruise in this heat wave, but Neil Chark at Uniglobe Carefree Travel would kind of like it if you did. Prices from $18.99 cruise only. Contact Neil Chark at neil@uniglobecarefree.ca. That's the CFL stuff. Point 3. Christopher Sanchez of the Philadelphia Phillies will start Tuesday night's All-Star game at his home ballpark, taking the mound for the National League against Dylan Cease of the Blue Jays. The Jays announced Sunday that Cease will be the American League starter. Dave Roberts of the Dodgers, who is managing the NL, said Sanchez is his starter. Cease is the first Toronto pitcher to start the All-Star game since Roy Halladay in 2009. Poll question today is, will you be watching the Home Run Derby? I'll be interested to see what the stats and numbers are on that vote going into hour 2. Geoff Freeborn will be joining us, pitching coach, scout for the Cincinnati Reds. Just one of the guys that I met in baseball. He's our pitching coach with the Millers. He hosts the Sidearm Nation podcast, which is incredibly popular. I thought with the All-Star game going on in MLB tomorrow night, the Home Run Derby tonight, the WCBL All-Star this Saturday, it would be a good... in the Saskatoon, it would be a good time to get Geoff Freeborn on. He's coming on in the next hour. Talked about the Oilers signing Colton Dock, point 4, to a 2-year contract extension with an average annual value of $1.2 million. So they were going to sign Dock. I mean, he's a great player. The question I put to Scruffy is, can you see the Oilers winning a Stanley Cup with Babs? He said no. And I'll be honest with you, most people are saying no that are connected to that team or fans of that team or follow that team. Scruffy said no. Kevin Carius was on here with us a few weeks ago, just a couple of days before he retired. He said no. Is that just the negativity of the market, or are they on to something? I can see it happening. It's just that's what's going on in sports right now. Tom Dundon, weird guy, owner of the Carolina Hurricanes, wins. A lot of weird guys, not necessarily good guys, winning. And I'm not saying that about Babs, but I am saying that about Daryl Cates based on, I shouldn't say it, I've never met the guy, but what I hear ain't good. But there's bad things people say about me, and I'm a great guy. Point 5, Conor McGregor's return against Max Holloway at UFC 329 ended unceremoniously at just 109 of the first round Saturday night because of a knee injury. Fighting for the first time in more than 5 years, McGregor flew across the ring with a flying left roundhouse kick when the match started and landed awkwardly on his right knee. And that's all she wrote, folks. Am I ever glad that I didn't stay up for that? Oh, I had this written down, by the way. Requests. Like, it was a busy enough weekend. I spent 2 full days, Friday and Sunday, at Craven. I'm not 20 anymore. But the requests that came in were crazy. From some of the people that I knew and a lot of people that I don't know. One lady said, can you get up on stage at Craven and announce that Carter Beck got drafted in the first round? But can you do it between Dasha and Creed? Because that's when we're going to be in the crowd. I didn't even respond to that one. One nice lady, can you get us up front row seats for Lainey Wilson? That would mean a lot to my daughter. Very nice lady that I've known, frankly, since we were kids. I couldn't even get myself front row seats. I can't do that for other people. The requests are crazy. So I'm trying to somewhat stay in my lane and do my thing, and UFC wasn't happening for me Saturday night. I already watched all of the Montreal-Calgary game where the Alouettes made the Stampeders look average. Davis Alexander's now threatening Darian Durant's CFL record for most consecutive pass attempts without without an interception, and he's probably going to break that. What's Montreal got this week? They're at Calgary Saturday. How about that? Jeff, the Stamps fan, you could see Davis Alexander make history at historic McMahon Stadium this weekend. So there's just a whole lot going on, and I just got to sometimes tap out on some of it. Geoff Freeborn next hour. We'll do this all over again. More of your opinions and talk a lot of baseball when we come back and go across Nevada on Silver State Sports. We'll be right back here on the RP Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Well, away we go. It's the RP Show, everybody. Welcome to a brand new week on your favorite daytime sports talk show. And I know it is because you're tuned in to episode number 1775. Full disclosure, that's what you love about this show. Hockey and football are my main sports. Baseball is number 3. When hockey and baseball aren't playing, I feel like we're a little lost in that what really is the number one sport for everybody, especially in the summer. Trust me, we're going to cover them all, and our guest today is coming up in the next segment. I was going to say Jeremy Freeborn. That's his brother. Geoff Freeborn is joining us, pitching coach. I got to find out if he's still scouting for the Cincinnati Reds or not. He's the pitching coach with our Millers. I got to ask him his story. Since I've been working in baseball, I've found so many interesting stories of guys and interesting people. And Geoff Freeborn is one. Jeffrey Freeborn. And I think it's 6 countries that he's pitched professionally in. Here on the night of the MLB Home Run Derby, the Midsummer Classic Tuesday night in Philadelphia, AL versus NL, and then the Western Canadian Baseball League All-Star Game coming up this Saturday at the Berry Patch. I thought this would be a great time to get Geoff Freeborn on. He's coming up in the next segment. So until then, in this opening segment, brought to you by our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel, it's everything else that's going on, including baseball, plus some stories of mine coming out of a very fun weekend at Country Thunder, the biggest music festivals across North America. They got them in Arizona, Florida, Wisconsin. We had one here in Sass this weekend. I had such a big time and enjoyed Lainey Wilson last night. Her show, never seen her before, the star of Yellowstone, where she gained her fame, the Buckin' Bulls. Just so you know, we've got so many new viewers, but we got a lot of longtime viewers too. The longtime viewers know this is me. I'm going to go to the country music festivals. I'm going to go to the bull riding. I'm going to be posting it everywhere, but I'm a sports guy too. It's a great life. So, and again, we're brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel here in the warm-up, the preferred travel partner of the RP Show and the BC Lions. When it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. We did talk a hell of a lot of CFL in hour 1, so if you missed it and you're watching on YouTube, go back and rewind on Game Plus streaming or our own YouTube channel. We are into the Nevada Hour here on Silver State Sports. Hi, everybody. And so, number one, the big story that we do every day is World Cup. Well, not every day is that the big story. We do the big story every day, and I feel like you can't get away from it. I feel like we're all ready to get away from it. So I'm reading this from the Associated Press Wire. I don't even know how to say the names, whether it was tiny Cape Verde taking them to extra time or Egypt burying them in a 2-goal hole late in their match. Lionel Messi and La Alba Celeste have always been able to survive, and that was the case once more on Saturday night when Julian Alvarez's long-range strike in the 112th minute and Lautaro Martinez's finish later in extra time sent them back to the semifinals with a thrilling 3-1 victory over Switzerland at raucous Arrowhead Stadium. Alexis McAllister had the other goal off a corner kick from Messi, helping to send them into a showdown with England on Wednesday in Atlanta. Before I go any further, you got to help me, because this will help me out a whole hell of a lot. Are you still following the World Cup? That's not the poll question, by the way. So you're going to need to write in on the Western Dodge text line 902-518-3033. Maybe you never were at all. But with the games here in North America, I think everybody got swept up for a while, especially when our teams, Canada and the USA, were in it. And we got into the playoffs, but now we're out. It's down to the Final Four, and I'm seeing all these media people who are trying to be soccer experts. I'm like, I don't think that you're a soccer expert. I've never seen you talking about soccer before, and all of a sudden you're questioning Canada's substitutions and time. What? The 3 Lions beat Norway 2-1 earlier in the day Saturday. Messi's 9-game World Cup scoring streak ended, but his pursuit of a second World Cup title continues. With Argentina and England joining France and Spain in the semifinals, it's the first time the top 4 teams in the FIFA standings have advanced that far. So what that tells them, whether it's rankings or standings, whatever, they got it right. The top 4 teams that they thought were going to be there are there. We move on. Point 2 really was Canadian Football League, and trust me, we'll be talking about that later on in the week, even here on the Silver State Sports Hour with various football guests. I'll give you the scores because I know there's a lot of people watching in Nevada that follow the league. in chronological order. Thursday, the Edmonton Elks and Star Nevada Wolfpack. Great. Cody Fajardo beat Ottawa 40-17. We talked about that on Friday. Friday night, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers knocked off Toronto 30-21 in Winnipeg. On Saturday in Montreal, the hometown Alouettes beat the Calgary Stampeders 37-30. And Sunday, the week closed with the Saskatchewan Roughriders motorboating the Hamilton Tiger Cats 38-7. If you want to talk more about it later on this hour, you can when we go to what we used to call open phones, as I do the Larry King of Sports Talk. Yeah, it'll be open line. 902-518-3033 for the text line for Western Dodge. Because moving on, as I said, point 3 of the quick 6, Geoff Freeborn. I've met a lot of really interesting people in baseball here in just a few years that I've been broadcasting it. The NCAA level. Geoff Freeborn, one of the coolest. Pitching coach, hosts the Sidearm Nation podcast. He's got more followers than I do. He's a big deal. The players love him. He's going to be coming in next to talk this. Christopher Sanchez of the Philadelphia Phillies will start Tuesday night's All-Star game in his home ballpark, taking the mound for the NL against Dylan Cease of the Blue Jays. The Jays announced Sunday that Cease will be the American League's starter. He's the first Blue Jay since Roy Doc Halladay to start for the AL in 2009. The poll question is for Country Thunder because the concert's still rolling, which I'd rather sit here and tell more stories about my Country Thunder weekend, to be quite frank with you. But anyways, the poll question, if you're in the Wisconsin area, go check out countrythunder.com, get your tickets, and these country music festivals are just so much fun. But the poll question is, will you be watching the Home Run Derby tonight? And I will tell you, for me, it's a yes. And I'm not sure if Geoff is logged in yet or not. He is a broadcast professional, so he might be. A lot of guys make you wait until the last minute. But bear with me. This is what you all need to know if you didn't already know. And I don't want to waste time once Geoff comes in. We're going to jump right into this. The Home Run Derby is tonight in Philadelphia. It's on Netflix, by the way, which I feel like we all have. Where for the first time since 2014, the competition will use a swing-based format. Now, because I watch it every year, I remember this, and I wouldn't have said felt like that long ago that they went away from the swing-based clock, and to the clock. Each player gets 20 swings in the first round, with the top 4 advancing to the head-to-head semifinals. The semis and finals feature just 15 swings per batter, with a caveat that in all 3 rounds, players who homer on their final swing get to keep going until they don't hit one out. So I've been on the field for these home run derbies when they've been time-based. And it's going to be fun to talk about this, with Geoff when he joins us next. So when they sat, if they had 20 seconds, 30 seconds, however many seconds they had, and the pitchers in the leagues that I worked in, the batters would bring their own pitcher. In some cases, it was their dad or their team's pitching coach or whatever. And they would just throw as many balls as they could in 30 to 40 seconds and hit as many home runs as they could. That was terrible because the guys were getting unbelievably tired. I was allowed to get right down behind or close to home plate and film it. And it's like, whoa, hang on. It was a lot. In this case, do you guys all remember back in the day when the real big sluggers were like the McGuires and the Sosas and that? It was 20 pitches, and if the guys didn't like the pitch, they could lean out. They didn't have to swing at it. If it wasn't where they wanted it, they didn't have to swing. So that's why I said it's swing-based. You get 20 swings, and the most home runs out of the 20 moves you on to the next round. I feel like it's a hell of a lot more easy to follow and track even for MLB, let alone the fans. Anyways, Phillies DH, Kyle Schwarber, will try joining the rare club of players to win the Derby in their home ballpark, because it's in Philly tonight, while teammate Bryce Harper will try doing so again after winning in D.C. as a national back in 2018. The others tonight in the home run derby, Yankees Ben Rice, the Rays Junior Caminero, the Cardinals Jordan Walker, the White Sox Munetaka Murakami, the Red Sox Wilson Contreras, and the Royals Jack Caglianone. Those Italian names always trip me up, especially the longer that they are. So, I don't know, have I got you sold yet? The only thing that I didn't like about it was when Chris Berman was calling it on ESPN, which we always got picked up in Canada on TSN. How many times can you say back, 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 back? Like every single home run, Boomer's going back, back, back. That got annoying after a while, which was part of the reason why I turned the sound down. I get a kick out of these guys saying what the announcers for the Rough Riders game on Sunday were referring to the Christmas tree game. I'm like, I don't have the sound up. If that makes me a jerk, then I'm a jerk. But it's literally my only beef about the home run derby back in the day was Chris Berman. He just could never invent another way to say back, 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 back. And maybe Geoff Freeborn's not going to be watching it at all, but I feel like as a hardcore baseball guy that he is, he'll be watching. As far as everybody else goes, Manny Machado singled in the tying run in the 8th inning, and Ty Francis's sacrifice brought in the go-ahead run for the San Diego Padres, who beat the Blue Jays 5-4 Sunday to take 2 of 3 games over the weekend. The defending American League champion Blue Jays head into the All-Star break at 45-51. I know it sounds bad, but remember them catching fire last year post-All-Star break? So it ain't over yet. But I said I wanted to tell stories about my weekend, and it's the Rod Pedersen Show, so I can. And oh boy, the comments have just gone crazy. Woo! Darren writes in, stanks. He says, I'm still watching the World Cup. I've really enjoyed the games. I have enjoyed more the videos of visiting fans from countries around the world enjoying the USA. For sure, and my friends back home in South Florida are all enjoying hosting the world. They've had such a great time. That part's been more interesting and exciting to me than the games themselves. It's been great. It's down to the Final Four, and that's why I asked you. If you guys are still following it, then I'll keep talking about it sporadically. But as you've noticed, I haven't brought any soccer analysts on. I don't even know any, but we'll just continue with our usual crew. Brent in the Bridge City writes in, he says, no to World Cup. He says, yes to the CFL. I enjoyed the games. Glad you enjoyed the music. Well, I'm saying it again, and it is 1:11 Eastern. Where'd Carlos go from Indiana? There he is. 1:11. Dude, it's the new thing. Instead of living in the past, try living in the future and make it a future that you want and just live there. Seems to be working for our Moose Jaw Millers, who have not lost. They have not lost since last week's team building event at the Freedom Stables. Let's call it a ranch. I guess the guys got on the horses after I left. I always leave early, and I'm good with that, which reminds me of Country Thunder. So just so you know, 40,000 people to this country music festival. I was telling my advisor, Lisa, this morning. From the ages of 17 to 42, 25 years. I was the first one knocking on the gates to get in, and I was the last one to leave 5 days later. Nobody enjoyed that thing more than me for 25 years. And then I stopped drinking 11 years ago, and I'm like, I cannot set foot on those grounds. I just can't. So going back this year was the first time in 11 years that I set foot on those vast grounds, which, by the way, I know every square inch of. Trust me. And so this year it was a lot of country stars that I didn't even know their names, but Lainey Wilson was the big one from Yellowstone fame. Riley Green, I'm like, oh, this guy's got 3 million followers. Logan Layman. I got on those grounds on Friday. I went right into the media trailer. The lady, Liz, was handling the media. She slipped a bracelet on my hand that said media, and she goes, go wherever you want. I'm like, really? I got the sense that they don't tell everybody that. So I ripped around and videoed the videos. I've got hundreds of thousands of views. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to be traveling to all these music festivals, I don't think. But who knows? But then I was tagging the artist, I'm taking photos with the artist, they're sharing all this stuff. I'm like, what? That just doesn't happen, not in the sports world. And then I went back to the media trainer. I said, Liz, can you give me one of these golf carts? And she's like, I'll tell you what, I'll drive you. Come on. I jumped in the back of the golf cart. She's driving. We're going all through the campgrounds, which is looked like downtown Baghdad. Went down the main street where the food was, went out where the bowls were, They let me go wherever the hell I wanted. Again, hundreds of thousands of views. Go look at Rod Pedersen Official, my official Instagram. It was so much fun. And they were so nice to me. And by the way, it had been 11 years since I stepped on the grounds. All my own friends were there, plus some new ones. Welcome back, Rod. We just had the biggest time. Jason in Red Deer says, hey, Rod, what was your favorite food at Country Thunder? To be honest, I didn't delve into a lot of food because, for one reason, the internet was down. The pay system was down. I brought all cash. They're like, we're not taking cash. It's only card. I'm like, what do you mean you don't take cash? I thought it was all cash. It was what we do at our concession. So the main ones were the usual. Pizza, pretzels, tacos. It's corn dogs. Had to think about it for a second. Trevor from Miami writes in. He says, what up, Rod? Welcome to the second worst week in sports. Next to the week after the Super Bowl. Can we all try not to be Mr. and Mrs. Poopy Pants for a while? It's the HR Home Run Derby tonight. MLB Home Run Derby tonight. It's the Midsummer Classic tomorrow. After that, we could bitch.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's the RP Show on Silver State Sports across Nevada, across Canada on Game Plus streaming, and a variety of other places, including the U.S. South, WQVZ. Geoff Freeborn joins us, the host of the Sidearm Nation podcast, pitching coach, and a damn good one. And Geoff, I was saying earlier, of all the guys I've met in baseball over the past few years since I got into it, you're one of my favorites. This will be the longest that we've ever talked. These 20 minutes will be the longest that we've ever talked yet. I'm just excited to have this chat. Thanks for coming on an off day for the Millers. And their poll question, I want to start there. You're a baseball guy. I would assume you'll be watching the Home Run Derby tonight on the All-Star game. Yeah, you're already nodding your head. What has you excited about the Home Run Derby tonight?
Well, I mean, honestly, like it's always kind of exciting, just like the All-Star game, and even just like the Futures game actually has been kind of cool. Like I coached Nathan Flewelling, and just to kind of see him kind of get the MVP, like it's always just kind of a special time of year. And I guess even in the WCBL, we got our own All-Star game kind of coming up this weekend. So yeah, it's always kind of a special time of year.
Well, I would like to introduce you to our viewers and myself just to get to know you a little bit. I guess I cut myself up. Geoff has a vibe, a aura, and the players love him, and that's a big reason why I feel we have the best baseball team in the WCBL. It's been so much fun this year, Geoff, and you're a big part of it. But tell the viewers a little bit about your baseball story, if you don't mind, because it's a cool one, man. You're a movie.
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate, I grew up in Calgary, but I did make the Canadian junior national team in 99, kind of like a very, fun team to be on with some of the guys that were on there, like Justin Morneau, Russell Martin, and Jeff Francis. And I was just happy to probably be on that team. But I wasn't necessarily going to be good enough to make the senior national team. My dad's born in England, so I kind of jumped ship and played for Great Britain pretty quick right after that when I was 19, and played college ball in the States, but then after didn't get drafted, so I just traveled the world and played over professionally in France, Germany, Colombia, Australia, and played indie ball here with the Calgary Vipers for 3 years, and even got to play for Jose Canseco with the Yuma Scorpions for a week. So it was got to play in all 6 continents, so I've kind of been very fortunate to kind of see the world through baseball.
Yeah, there's not a lot of guys that have done that. And are you still scouting for the Reds, or you have scouted for the Reds? What's the scouting history?
Yep, no, still do kind of Western Canada for the Cincinnati Reds. It was kind of cool to see the draft. I mean, got to draft my first player, Owen Pote, 2 years ago. There was a couple guys kind of on the radar this year, but the draft's definitely changed. Like back then when it was like 50, 60 rounds, someone like myself would have for sure got to get like a couple picks every year, but with the draft only being 20 rounds, it's really tough to get drafted now.
Well, you must have some thoughts. You've been in this league since Carter Beck's been playing in it. Everybody's talking about a first-round pick of the Atlanta Braves, a sensational outfielder, product of the Saskatoon Berries, and Indiana State. Talk about how big that is for our league and the notoriety he's gained. And you've seen him, so what do you think is the sky for the ceiling for this kid?
Yeah, no, definitely. He's got so much upside, and that was pretty cool to see him get drafted that high. I mean, the Reds were definitely high on him too, but we had him slated maybe second or third round. But I mean, it just depends. Every organization is different with what they're looking for, and to see him get drafted that high is that's pretty special, especially a kid from small town Saskatchewan, right? And to see what he's doing, I mean, that's going to be fun to follow.
There's no doubt. He's told me he's wanted to play in the Olympics. I think he's going to be playing in the majors before he ends up playing in the Olympics, because that's 2028 in LA. But I got to ask you something, Geoff. You're a pitching coach, and I wonder what your thoughts are on analytics. And I ask this because not just about pitching, but baseball overall. Carter's dad asked me to go watch him play at Florida Gulf Coast University a couple of winters ago, because that's where I live, as you know. And all these scouts were there. And I could tell because my dad was a scout for 26 years in hockey. They kind of stand out, especially they just do. And they were all there to watch Carter. And I'm like, what? He's an outfielder. He's not a pitcher. Like, what are you looking for in an outfielder before we even get to pitchers? And how much the numbers play into it versus the eye test?
I mean, like the numbers are part of the game, obviously, right now, but hopefully it's kind of starting to change a little bit. It's kind of maybe more of a tool, right? You can't just rely all on analytics. I think we're starting to see that kind of maybe come back, and more MLB teams just keeping that in the back pocket. But there is still the eye test, and honestly, some of it too, obviously you don't want to see Carter Beck go 0 for 4 every game, right? Otherwise, he's not necessarily a prospect. But some of it is like maybe when he does go 0 for 4, and maybe his behavior after going 0 for 4, and just being a good teammate that way. But obviously, just athleticism, right? Speed, good arm. Hopefully making as many, good barrel contact too is part of it. It's not just launching home runs all the time, but some of it is the off-field stuff too. Like, especially, like I said, with the draft being shorter now, more and more teams are doing their research on what kind of the character of the player off the field too.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think for any parents that are watching, this is very important, Geoff. The numbers are one thing, the eye test is another. But these days really need to be a good kid. And I look at this Millers baseball team, I don't know, because I asked Coach Gonzalez, I said, what's with all the talent? And he goes, I got to give Coach Freeborn a lot of the credit. He did a lot of the recruiting. And these are good young men on this team that love each other. We talk a little bit about how important that is to you.
Well, even just like for a college summer team to have this many returning players is kind of pretty special. You don't see that very often, right? It can be a revolving door, or guys wanting to go to other leagues, right, and kind of move on, or whatever that looks like. So to have that many returning players is definitely pretty unique. Especially maybe non-Okotoks or say Sylvan Lake that maybe have kind of academy style programs where they kind of can maybe keep guys a little longer, but like for say Moose Jaw to have that many returning players, yeah, it's very special.
Well, it's a special program. You figure that out real fast. Right? The kids love playing here. It's a great town. Kids are stars in this town, as you realized.
Yeah, and that's definitely part of it too, right? I mean, they do get to kind of be, a little star for the summer, and why not come back and do it again? And that's the fun thing about the WCBL, which I do enjoy. Like, you are allowed to play as a graduating senior, and maybe just get you ready for professional baseball just one last little summer. I know even recruiting-wise, lost a couple pitchers to pro ball, but, it is what it is. But, some of those guys maybe would have benefited just from a couple more months. Pitching in front of 5,500 people in Okotoks will get you ready for pro ball for sure.
All right, Geoff Freeborn is with us, pitching coach, host of the Sidearm Nation podcast, which we'll get to in a second. But, Geoff, as far as the All-Star game, I said this is perfect timing to bring you on. Home Run Derby tonight, the Futures game, as you mentioned, the Midsummer Classic Tuesday night. How are you on All-Star games overall? Do you like him in leagues or not?
I think there's a time and place for them. It's definitely a good showcase for players too. Like say for like WCBL, for example, right? That's a pretty good event to kind of showcase. It's already you're facing better hitters just in the league in general, but then come the All-Star game, you're facing the top hitters, right? And I guess I was fortunate enough, even the Northern League back in the day, got to play in one of those All-Star games, and that was probably one of the highlights of my pro ball career, and just that whole event. And more scouts were there, obviously, and it was a pretty cool special event. And from an MLB standpoint, I mean, hopefully it's a good event for the fans, and just I think baseball kind of needs it, right? I mean, the World Baseball Classic, I think, is a cool event too, to kind of help grow the game a little more, like internationally wise too. But just anything for kind of the fans and keep them involved is there. Obviously nothing wrong with that for sure.
So funny you say that, because that World Baseball Classic feels like it was a year ago, and I was still living in South Florida when it was going on, right? And people were talking about moving it back to mid-season. I'm like, why would you do this? This is the perfect thing. It told the whole world baseball's back. And some guys got to skip out of spring training to go play in it. The games were amazing, and I guess why would you change it from preseason to go back to mid-season? Would make no sense to me.
Yeah, I don't think they could. I mean, that's probably the biggest sticking point with the baseball being in the Olympics, or MLB players being in the Olympics, right? And like the dream team and that kind of part of it. Like, I mean, for MLB to take whatever 10, 14 days off in their season. I just don't see that happening. I think they've got their World Baseball Classic. I think the Olympics they're good for baseball, but I just don't see MLB working with the IOC with that. But they've got the All-Star Game, World Baseball Classic, so nothing wrong with that.
We'll find out over the next. We got 2 summers for them to figure that out. Similar to the NFL players playing flag in those same Olympics.
Yeah.
Or the Canadian Football League players. The same thing, man. They're having all the same discussions, Geoff. But, back to these All-Star games for a second. I sit there and I look at the WCBL rosters and even the MLB rosters. I couldn't imagine managing it because we've got Dave Roberts and John Schneider tomorrow night. How would you not managing it like a normal game because you're trying to get everybody into a game like a damn peewee team? You know what I mean? Like it's not the typical game.
No, definitely not, right? And I think you are trying to get everyone in, and I mean, obviously, everyone there's there for a reason, right? And I mean, it'd be a pretty fun game to manage. I mean, you really kind of have nothing to lose, but like you said, you are trying to probably make sure everyone at least gets some sort of appearance, right? But that's probably their biggest issue, and you can kind of plug and play a little bit with some players, but they're all stars, so you can't really complain about that. So.
No, well, I mean, imagine going all the way to the game and then not playing. Somehow or another, they get everybody in. I'm just saying it's because if you got a guy throwing a no-no in the 9th, it's just not going to happen. Which back to what you do, okay? Pitching counts, analytics. I'm watching what you guys do, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a hockey and football guy first. I played baseball growing up, but I just got into the WCBL and doing this just a few years ago. So I'm just watching what you guys do. I don't analyze it. I'm just interested to see the decisions that go into when you're making pitching changes. The one thing I've noticed with our Millers is you guys are far less hesitant to pull a guy out than your predecessor, Eric Marriott. What goes into that?
I mean, some of it just maybe depends who's on the mound, right? Like obviously a guy like Wes Walls, like we can kind of run him out there a little bit more just because he is a graduating senior, right? And doesn't have to necessarily go back to a school, or we don't have to necessarily, get in trouble with his head coach or pitching coach for maybe pitching him too much, right? It's kind of on his and like all the graduating seniors really, like it's kind of the end of their college career and hopefully looking to move forward, right? But some of the guys that are still in college, we got to be a little more careful about, pitch count and inning limits and not trying to hurt anyone over the summer, right? Because otherwise then we'll lose, a lot of clout recruiting wise, right? Or that school will never send anyone else. And then word gets around, right? So you do have to be careful, right? Like our goal is to win games, but we're also not trying to hurt any arms.
Well, and that's again, I'm sitting there up in the booth and just watching and wondering what goes into these decisions. And what you're telling me is a hell of a lot more than whether a guy's arm's tired or not, or what you got in the bullpen, right? It's a bigger deal than that.
Yeah, and some of it too, like, I mean, the guys do know it is kind of like a ladder, right? If you have a good outing, you kind of slide up the ladder a little bit. If you have a bad outing, you slide down a little bit. Not saying you're not going to pitch. I mean, that's the nice thing about when I was a relief pitcher in pro ball. You have an opportunity to pitch every day. You never quite know what that looks like. I mean, if a guy like Wes throws 7 or 8 innings pretty consistently, you've got maybe a lesser chance of throwing in the game, but you don't want to get caught off guard in the bullpen, right? So I just try and tell the relief pitchers, just don't assume that you're not throwing today, right? But just communicating too with myself, like, and Gonzo, like if you're good to go today, if you threw 25 pitches yesterday and your arm's feeling a little sore or tired and you need a day off, no problem with that. We'll give you a day off. So, I mean, our goal is just to try and put the pitchers in the best position they can. Some guys maybe are just a 1-inning guy. We've maybe tried to stretch a few guys out for a couple innings, but then just hasn't quite worked. So we've kind of found out a few of our guys are just 1-inning guys, and that's kind of what they'll be the rest of the summer.
Pitching coach Geoff Freeborn is with us, host of the Sidearm Nation podcast. I knew it would go fast. Tell us about that podcast, by the way. You put a lot of work into it. I can tell you have a lot of fun with it. Tell our viewers about that.
It is fun, yeah. Like, I mean, when I first started Sidearm Nation, like, it's a pitching site for lower slot pitchers, like sidearm submarine pitchers. And initially, I kind of just did interviews for the site, whether that was through phone call or email, and kind of like almost like a little bit of like an ebook online. But I'd always kind of maybe wanted to do a podcast, and just finally kind of went for it, and I guess started that like 6 years ago, and it's kind of been fun just to not just sidearm submarine pitchers. Like, it is fun. Like, I've had Tyler Rogers on, and gonna have Adam Simber on coming up here, and just guys like that have been fun. But also just guys, I've also guys with kind of baseball backgrounds from other sports that maybe not normally would talk baseball. So that's kind of been fun to have guys like, like I had heavyweight boxer Lou Savarese who had like a minor league workout with the New York Yankees and just wanted to come on. He's probably used to talking boxing the whole time, but he was able to talk baseball, right? So just, guys like Bob Bourne, played a couple years in the Houston Astros organization. He said he was, used to talking hockey the whole time, but getting to talk baseball for half an hour was pretty special. So just kind of guys like that, and guys that maybe weren't supposed to make it to the bigs, which I've always enjoyed, like guys that made it out of indie ball, right? For myself, being a former indie ball player, it's always been fun to see guys like that. Like Scott Richmond is a perfect example, like a former Moose Jaw Miller, and for him to make it out of the bigs, out of indie ball was pretty special.
Oh my God. I feel like we got a part 2 coming up, because Borny's a friend of mine from Netherhill, Saskatchewan, 4-time Stanley Cup champion, along with his teammate Clark Gillies, who's no longer with us. Both those guys signed pro ball contracts, right? But these days, guys aren't playing 2 sports or 3 sports. You know what I mean? That maybe is another thing with kids. They're specializing so young. We got less than about a minute and a half, but would you tell kids to play more sports, or just specialize on one?
I like multi-sport athletes. It's a place, I guess, to specialize, like kind of maybe that grade 11, grade 12, I guess, if you're starting to get serious. But I mean, like, I remember growing up, like Jerome McGinley would come back and he played baseball in the summer. I played against him. Like Mike Commodore used to play Team Alberta baseball, whereas I don't know if that even happens anymore. I don't even know if they're allowed, if they're playing in the WHL, to come back and play baseball, right? So, but I like it. I feel like sometimes you can see the guys that are just very baseball specific. When you try and show them something, they get kind of maybe too robotic, but you get some of the multi-sport guys and you show them something and they pick up on it pretty quick.
Now, that's why I ask you what you would say to the parents. We'll get into this more when you come on next time, but Carter Beck was a high-level AAA midget hockey player. I'm not sure you're allowed to say that anymore. U18 player, AAA hockey player. And that just well-rounded his talents and relationships and all the rest, right? And that's the thing. So it does. What I'm getting out of this is we're kind of going back to what we thought was the good old days. Not as much analytics, play other sports. So the world is actually getting normal again. Coach, thanks for this. Thanks for the time on your day off, man. I'll see you at the ballpark tomorrow night.
No, all good. Thanks for having me, Ron.
Great job, Coach. Geoff Freeborn joining us, pitching coach and host of the Sidearm Nation podcast. The Millers are the hottest team in the WCBL, and he's a really big reason why. And I just love the cut of his jib, as I said earlier. We'll be right back with a sports update and viewer takeover. It's the RP Show on Silver State Sports, Game Plus, WQVZ Radio.
Ready for a night of rock with the Gene Simmons Band.
You know your man is working hard. He's worth the team.
Saturday, December 5th, Temple Garden Center.
Now.
The Gene Simmons Band performing your favorite classic hits. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca. Don't miss the Gene Simmons Band.
Get ready to make unforgettable memories with your little ones at Elmo's Got the Moves, the all-new Sesame Street live show coming to your neighborhood. Friday, December 4th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at SaskTix.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back to the RP Show, everybody. I feel like Jerry Reed. We got a long ways to go and a short time to get there, i.e., a lot of things to cover. And I'll say this again, eventually everybody will understand what I'm saying. That's why I'm a hockey and football guy first. That's why a lot of you guys have come here to watch. But neither of them are playing right now in terms of American sports, and we covered a hell of a lot of CFL in hour one. So, and the reason I bring that up is David number 2 in Winnipeg writes in, where the hell is it? He says on the Western Dodge text line, the home run derby and all-star game excite me as much as a trip to the dentist. And it's like, I can't change your opinion on that, bro, but that's not me. You know, I've always loved baseball. It just isn't in my top 2, and I've always watched the home run derby, which what got me thinking about this and why I'm repeating it is the results of the poll question today, which we do a daily poll every day for Country Thunder, because the next Country Thunder show's coming up in Wisconsin, and we have viewers there. Right, Dean Tix, where you at? In Green Bay. 70% say they won't be watching the All-Star home run derby tonight. All-Star home run derby. And it's like not a whole lot else going on. Our friend Trevor Harris wrote in. He was watching earlier from WQAM radio in Miami. He says, welcome to the worst week in sports. Well, are we going to sit around and bitch about that? Or tune into what I think will be great television tonight, the home run derby and the All-Star game tomorrow? I don't know. That's just me. Again, it sucks when the NHL and NFL aren't playing. Boom, I said it. Sports update. Spain, England, and Argentina joined France in the semifinals over the weekend, setting up the chalkiest Final Four in World Cup history. For the first time ever, the World Cup semifinals feature the world's top 4 teams. Number 1, France. Number 2, Argentina. Number 3, Spain. And number 4, England, delivering a dream scenario for fans in a tournament that has so frequently made us pinch ourselves. From the star-studded Golden Boot race to the world's best teams routinely proving their mettle, this World Cup has thoroughly exceeded its high expectations, and it's not over yet. Yeah, I read that from the yahoo.com email. So there's that. Some viewers say they're still watching it. Some viewers saying they never were. Welcome to summer sports. From the NBA, Victor Wembanyama signed the largest rookie extension in NBA history. Get this. 5 years, $252 million. Though it's smaller than it could have been, as he opted for the max rather than the super max to give the Spurs more financial flexibility. How generous of him to only take 20% of the cap rather than he could have taken 30%. Nice guy there. As I mentioned, Phillies lefty Christopher Sanchez and Blue Jays righty Dylan Cease are your all-star game starting pitchers. Shohei Ohtani will not participate in the game. Phillies ace Zach Wheeler declined an invite as a replacement player, saying he felt disrespected by his initial snub. I'll tell you what, if that's the real case, so we were following this, right? You're following this because we talked about it last week. He doesn't get named to the initial or voted to the initial all-star roster, and then he was not invited as a, let's say, first ballot replacement. So it went to like the second ballot, and they're like, hey, Zach, we have room for you. And he's like, yeah, I'm not going to go. I felt disrespected because I was snubbed initially. Then stay home. Like literally, don't think that you're don't let your kids emulate that. That's not the kind of hero worship you would want. Oh, I'd be happy to go. Thanks for having me. So how hockey players are different. We talked about the Sam Bennett story last week. The White Sox took UCLA shortstop Rock Chalowski first overall in the 2026 MLB draft, which featured 613 selections, including some familiar names. Barry Bonds' nephew Peyton Bonds went to the Giants. Andy Pettit's son Luke went to the Yankees. Jim Thome's son Landon went to the White Sox. And CC Sabathia's son Carson III went to the Brewers. And Carter Beck of Saskatoon Barry's WCBL fame went 26th overall in the first round to the Atlanta Braves. I'm not even done with the sports update yet. We got more, but we have to break. We're brought to you on the sports update by the Ultimate Fan Zone. Don't just watch the game, live it. Gear up at the Ultimate Fan Zone. Today, jerseys, cards, collectibles, find it all at ultimatefanzone.ca. I'm turning it over to you next. I promised it. Open line coming up. 902-518-3033. Be right back on the RP Show.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Welcome back, everybody. It is the overtime segment for our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. It's hot outside. Why not? And too hot for a lot of people. Why don't you head indoors and shoot some pucks till your heart is content? 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. Tell Randy and Michelle the RP show sent you. And, yeah, they've got the license bar for the parents, $20 lane time. They use the Rod Pedersen Show lane where you can win $500 by putting... firing your puck into the little slot right underneath the top of the crossbar. Bar down, bro. Hockey players hang out at Overtime Hockey Lanes. That means you should too. I said open lines. John in Edmonton, hello. He says it's open line. How do we call in, Rod? I'm not sure the world's ready for you to call in, John. I know I'm not. He goes on to say, Rod, the MLB Home Run Derby is not on Netflix in Canada. It's streaming exclusively on Sportsnet. Oh, boy. Well, from what I saw, it's on Netflix, and thank God my Netflix account is U.S. I'm sure I'll be fine. Either way, we'll find it. And if it's not on, I guess we'll find something else to do. But you at least know that. You got me beat. Regarding the kids coming up, oh, my God. I've been waiting for this day in a lot of ways. I've been waiting for this year. Scott writes, and he says, everything is organized now. Seems kids don't just play sports for fun. Do you have kids, Scott? Because there's a lot of kids that are having fun. And if they're not, then they're doing it wrong or playing the wrong sport. But for Geoff Freeborn to come on, and I've been looking forward to that interview for a while because he was far more serious in that interview, and I'm sure he's serious during the games when he's walking out to the mound to talk to his pitchers, but before the games, always smiling, always happy, always just a ray of sunshine. I'm like, I got to get that bro on my show, man. I namaste. The light in me recognizes the light in him. But for him to say that, oh, we're moving away from analytics now. Finally, I wondered if that day would ever come. And frankly, going out to Country Thunder this weekend and having all the people that were there, not all of them because it was 40,000 people there, but the people that came up to me, I won't say too much, but other than, oh my God, Rod, it's so good to see you. I felt so horribly with the way that you were treated. Oh, so glad that it's going so great for you now. I'm like, it's always going, I'm fine, but thanks. Glad to have you back. I've been waiting for years to see you. We're good. Jason in Red Deer. Final poll results, 70% say no to watching the MLB Home Run Derby. That's, by the way, the thing. Like, I mean, tomorrow, I don't have a guest book for tomorrow. I got a couple lines in the water. I was going to worry about it once I got off the air today. But I'll be perfectly honest, probably going to bring on somebody to chat NFL. When it's the time of year where the hardcores, the CFL is going on. Guys, we spent almost the entire of hour one on that. I feel like we're good. So let's just say NHL and NFL aren't playing right now, and the hockey players, you can't even find them. And the management, they're gone. They're like, don't call me, don't text me. They're at the lake. Or in some cases, they're at Country Thunder on the weekend, which is also why it was a lot of fun for me back in the day when I was only doing hockey. But I'm just saying, we're in no man's land in sports. And as Trevor from Miami wrote in earlier, this is the worst week of the year in sports. Well, you could follow the MLB, but nobody wants to do that. They just want to bitch about the fact that nothing else is going on. I'm not a bitcher. So. And the wildest thing was going to Country Thunder. And as I say, if you go follow my social media channels, you can see it yourself. Can't lie. You can't BS in this business anymore. The videos that I posted of Lainey Wilson and Robin Ottolini and Logan Layman got hundreds of thousands of views, and the artists shared my videos. I'm like, you don't need to do that. And Country Thunder did as well. I'm like, what? That doesn't happen in sports. I don't get it. Now, I'm not going to music festivals every weekend, so I feel like the novelty would wear off fast. But I want to do everything. I want to get out and see everybody and do it all. And as I said way back at the start of the show when Scruffy was on, I said, we got a lot of new viewers that are just getting to know me. This is me. Going to the Country Music Festival, hanging out at the bull riding, chatting with my old friends. But also going in, having a shower, and watching football for 3 hours, and then going back out there. And that Lainey Wilson show, oh my God! I mean, I came away from that thinking I need to get into new country music more because it is so great. But I was mentioning this last week. Can't remember who was on with me. I said when the sports world and the entertainment world came together here over the last couple of years, the numbers just exploded. And here's an example why. I put a photo. I got right up on the rail to film the bull riding. Go look at it at Rod Pedersen Official. Like I almost got hooked, but I was raised around. They don't scare me. You can't get at me. So I filmed it, and this lady writes. She retweeted it or whatever. You reposted it on Instagram. She's like, "I'm going to go to a rodeo now. Who wants to come?" And she was normally following me for sports, so I've been sitting. What I say, they're getting rid of analytics. I've been the one preaching for years. Can we all work together? It works so great in the recovery world. If you're having an emergency, I know somebody in your area. We can help you. Boom, 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 boom. It works so good. Why were we never working together before between sports and entertainment? And now we are. That's exciting stuff to me. Sports is too expensive. Well, I agree, but I don't have the time to get into that. I see the people complaining about these crowds still in the CFL. I'm like, I don't know. You couldn't have fed another soul into the grandstand at the Lainey Wilson show the other night. The economy wasn't affecting that. I don't think it's that. But people like to tell themselves stories to make themselves feel better and cover up for maybe some things they missed. Anyways, we'll see you back here tomorrow with Scruffy and an unnamed guest. Thanks for joining us today, everybody. Hope you had fun here on the RP Show.
That